Yes, how to prepare that activity record that we have seen in our last class. So I am just giving you the practical life experiences, activities, what all activities you can do for that. Those activities which is there in the book. This is the whole practical life situation. As I told you initially, I told you. See here, the age is also given. The material is also given. In this book, whatever the demonstration is given, that you can use it in the place of presentation. Okay,
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
fine.
ma'am.
So age is also there. Along with this, you will have the prerequisite activities, right? So that also you have to write here. So here the material is the child's own chest of drawers. Means drawers at the level of the child's chest. It should not be more than his height. Okay. So this is the material. Place the first two fingers and thumb on each knob or handle. Okay.
Mm.
So this way. But let me switch on my video. Yes. Can you see me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this way, place first two fingers and thumbs on the knob like this. Fingers like this and thumb on the knob. And with the two hands, they are opening. And then with the two hands, they are closing. And after that, when they learn, after that, we will be teaching them this way. First with both the hands. When they are grown up, this is from 2.5 years. When they will be 3.5 years, that time you will be teaching them this way with one hand. Open the drawer and then close the drawer. Okay. And just look here at open and close the door, drawer noiselessly and carefully. This is very much important in Montessori because whatever work we are doing, we must do it in a perfectionist way. So if the noise is coming, that means the work is not going to be done properly in later on also. Afterwards, when the child grows up, that time also whenever the child will open a drawer, he'll just open it like this and everything will fall down. So when we teach them to do the work carefully at the initial stage, they will do that work carefully and they will understand. Somebody is facing yeah. So you have to proceed in this manner. This way it is given. So this is the demonstration of opening and closing the drawers. Okay. See here. The picture is also given you. Right? See how with both the hands the child is doing. So the drawer
Holding.
which you have to keep, you have to have two handles over there. See here, you can see one and two. Both the side they are having handles. So you have to keep the drawers in such a way. Now after this, we will be teaching you how to pretend to make drawers at your home also with a cartoon box. Like actually we take all of our classes in army camps to the army ladies. So we always tell them that from the army canteen you always get a cartoon box. In that cartoon box, if you make a partition with a separate cartoon, and then if you give a cardboard there, you can make an easy drawer with the help of that. So just put two buttons over it. What will be the buttons? Those buttons will be that shirt button which we put it for coat and all. Na, it is a big button actually. For coat the button is big, so when you paste that button over it, it becomes very easy for a 2.5 year old child to just open it, and that child is even not going to get that drawer in his hand, and it is not going to fall over his leg also, because it will be made up of cardboard. It will not be of wooden also, right? So it is also at the safety mode of the child too. So this way you can make a drawer system at your own home and make the child practice how to open the drawer and then close the drawer. This is a daily and a practical life activity which any time the child may have to do it. The purpose behind that is to teach the child an appreciation of quiet and order, to quietly do the work, which is making them do the work carefully, to give the child a sense of achievement when he opens and closes the drawers quietly. Okay, the sense of achievement, that if I'm opening without making any noise, that means the child has achieved something, that yes, I have done, right? That way, that thing the child must have it in his or her mind. Okay, then the control of error, the controller f of error, I told you in our last class also. This is the thing where the teacher is going to assess. So if the child is opening the drawer with no noise, means the child has developed the skill. And if the drawer is making the noise, if he is opening very harshly, and if the drawer is making a noise, that means the child needs more practice in this skill. Okay, like if we give gradings, so A grade will be given if there is no noise, and then C grade will be given if there is noise. D grade is never given in Montessori. In Montessori, A, B, and C only 3 grades are given. So A grade will be with perfection. B grade, the child is under the learning process. And C grade means child has not developed any skill and it is in the initial stage. There are only 3 grades in Montessori because Dr. Maria Montessori believed that no child is born by learning something. The child has the capability to learn many different things. Whatever the child is learning in the womb of the mother is only the hereditary and the thing environment, whatever the child is getting. But after coming out of that prenatal to postnatal environment, when the child undergoes towards the other scientific environment, Dr. Maria Montessori used to call the environment as a scientific environment. That's why the pictures which I sent you of the prepared classroom, if you can just imagine about those pictures, when you see, you will have an imagination of a scientific lab, isn't it? All the prepared environment looks like a science lab, because every table is having some or the other material. The child is going toward the material and then doing some activity. But in our conventional classroom, all the desks and benches are totally vacant, nothing is there on it. Child is taking the bag from the home and child is having books and copies, and then when the child goes, everything the child takes with his or her own self, and the whole class is vacant. But in Montessori, all the materials is at the classroom. Child is coming bare bags. Child is not carrying any bag. Child is coming to the school, choosing the material, what activity the child wants to do it. The child is learning by doing with very different activities and goes bagless home. All the materials are at the school. So it is same like how we go in labs and materials. Okay, when if you want to go for a blood test, you go vacant for a blood test in a lab, right? But in that lab, all the materials are kept. They have the syringe, they have the serum, and many different things are there in that lab. You just give your blood and then come. You have gone there vacant and you're coming vacant, right? But all the materials are there in that lab. Similarly is the Montessori classroom prepared environment setup. So Dr. Maria Montessori always used to say that this is a totally scientific environment where the child must learn and understand. And the child must do all the activity in the school itself. No need to do anything at home. Whatever the child is learning in the school must apply that knowledge at home. Okay. Second is busy board for again some issue, I think so. Now can you hear me? Now can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I was talking about this busy board and daisy dressing frames. Busy board means whenever the child is selecting this board of dressing frames, the child is actually busy with that activity. Okay, opening and closing drawer once or twice the child will do, and the child will get bored, and that's and the child will go in another activity, right? But this busy board, the child is busy in that, and the child learns the practical life, practical activity. What does the child is having in this? The child is learning to dress up his or her own self. So in that, the child is having buttons, which is there on the shirt. The child is having hooks. The child is having zips. Okay, so there are zips on the pants. There are hooks on the frocks. Okay, there are buttons on the shirt. So this is giving the fine motor skills to button up like this. This type of skill needs to be developed. To put on the zip, one side they will be putting it, they need to stretch it, and then they need to put it up and then zip down, zip up and then zip down. So this type of frames are there. Now how you can make this type of frames at home? If you have an old wooden photo frame, in that frame you just need to cut the sleeves of a shirt which is having a buttons, and you just need to tuck off on that old photo frame with small nails, one side with the eyes and another side with the buttons, and your frame is ready at a home. Okay, you need some small nails, you need a old photo frame, and then you need an old shirt. Similarly with zips, with zip also you can do it. With an old cloth you can just stitch it, you can just stitch the zip, either the kurtas or the dresses which is having the zip, you can cut those sleeves, and that zip, if it is working, just tuck it up on that old photo frame. Okay, and then pin it up with the nail and hammer, and your zip frame is also ready. Okay, so this is the zip one. Similarly, you can work with hooks. For hooks, you can take a small frame and an old blouse. You can cut that old blouse, which is having the hook. Okay, and then you can make a small frame with that. So the child is learning how to put a hook, how to put a button, how to put a zip. So these all are the dressing frames. When the child learns this, the child learns how to dress up his or her own self. Okay, so here's to teach self-reliance, self-control, and coordination of movements of hands, buttons. They can feel the fabric. If you're using a cotton shirt, if you're using a synthetic shirt, if you're using uh, any nylon fabric, so child is also touching that fabric and then learning about that fabric too. Okay, the child understands that fabrics are used when we dress up our own selves. Similarly, the next activity is pouring rice. Here, for pouring rice, it is the same activity which I have given you. You can pour rice also, or you can pour any water, jug, or tumbler in that tumbler also. Okay, so in that picture, you can have rice, and that rice you can have it in a bowl and just pour it here. The rice flakes must not fall down on the table. This is the control and error. Error cause spills here. So if there is error, it will spill, and if there is no error, it won't spill. Okay. So this was the next activity. Now, see here, rice spills. This is the activity. So these type of pictures also you need to draw. Whatever activity you are selecting, you need to draw these type of pictures, or you can paste the pictures too. If you are purchasing the hard copy, you can photocopy that picture and then cut and paste it and then color it. That is also accepted. Okay. Next is dusting. Yes, dusting and carrying the chair. You know, this is a very, very important activity. If the child knows why to dust and how to dust, then what happens? The child will keep his or her own surrounding clean. The child will never sit or never work in a messy place. The child will understand the importance of cleanliness and neatness. Okay, and if not properly done means the dust is there wherever the child is doing. Initially what we do, we actually give them a waste basket and a duster means we can give a waste cloth, we can give them a napkin and the dusty table. They just have to rub it on the table and make the table dust free. And if there is some dust on the table, that means there is an error. And if there is no dust, that means there is no error and the child is able to do all the activities on his or her own self. Similarly, next activity is carrying a chair. This is also important. The chair must be a child's chair because the child is very much small. So the child doesn't have that capacity to hold a big person's chair. And the child may also fall down when the child is carrying that because it is going to come over his head only. So if it is a small chair, he can pick it up till his chest. Okay. And then he can see also while walking. So that is important. Okay, so the chair must be the child's chair. The child must know how to walk in a straight line. Carry that chair, make a line, and then walk it on that line with the carrying chair. They are going to enjoy this. In my class, children literally enjoy this activity. Why? Because they feel like I am playing a game. Okay, so this is very nice activity which a child does, and it is very easy. Next activity, folding a napkin, which this I have showed you. Take a square piece of napkin, teach them to fold it in a triangular way, teach them to fold it in a rectangular way, and then again make it a square. This way they can learn about the shapes also. And if it is not properly folded, that means there is control of error. Okay, that means there should not be any fluffiness, there should not be any bump, and they should know how to, when they are folding like this, they must press their hands like this so that it is pressed, and they understand if these two joints I have to make it like this, that means it's fine, done very nicely. And if the joints are not there properly attached, that means they have not done it properly and they need practice in that. Okay, next, setting a table. Setting a table is also important activity because when there are guests at the home, if the child is not doing anything mess, so that the child will understand the importance of tables. The child can, you can set up a dining table, you can set up a study table, you can set up and a normal play toy table. Any table you can set up. So materials you can keep it accordingly. If they are setting up a dining table, they will keep salt, pepper, plates, cups, and the flowers. If they are setting a study table, they will keep a pencil holder, they will keep some books, they'll keep some pens, they'll keep one diary over it. Okay, so these all are the things, right? So this way they can set their own tables. Next, washing dishes. Here, washing dishes. This is also an important activity. In India, if we teach them washing dishes means parents are going to come and then they are going to tell that is my child coming to wash utensils in the school? Literally, it actually happened in my school. You know, one day the maid, actually the child has spilled water from his table, and the water was totally spilled up on that floor. The ayah just told that child to just pick up that cloth from there and just put it over the water so that we will not fall down. The child went to the home and told that I just cleaned the floor today. And the parent came with lot of complaint. Is my child coming to the school to clean the floor? You don't have maid in your school or what? I do not make my child do these type of activities in my home, and you are making them do this activity. But in Montessori, it is said that the child must do this. So if it now my school is a conventional school, it is not a Montessori school. But the maid didn't said anything wrong. If the child would have running in the classroom and child would have fall down, then again the parent would have come. You do not take care of the children in the classroom, isn't it? So the maid has not done the wrong thing, but they feel like this thing, if the child is doing, that means she's not watching towards her child's mistake. The maid already told to the child, please don't turn back. Your bottle cap is open. First cap that bottle, then you turn back. She was first standard child. She doesn't listen to her, and then she just turned back and the water was totally down. So these things happen. 6 years old child, yes, we can understand. The child is not understanding. But the maid didn't said anything wrong to the child. She never told to the child, you clean the floor. She only told to pick up that cloth and keep it on the water so that it will not fall down. Because all the children were having lunch at that time. So it is not possible to clean that with that floor cloth at that time, because everybody is having the lunch, isn't it? All the dust will go in the lunch boxes of the children. So maid didn't said anything wrong at that time, but a wrong message went there. Okay, this is the thing. So in Montessori, we have to teach them very systematically by putting an apron. We have to keep a small sink in that sink, because in a Montessori classroom also, when we talk about the washrooms and the toilets, it should be at the level of the children, and the wash basin sink should be at the level of the children, so that the child is easily having access towards the tap and is able to wash his or her own hands. So in that sink, there must be a sponge, there must be a plastic dish. Okay, and we will teach them, see, if this is a dish, rub it like this, place the sponge in the detergent, rub it like this, keep the sponge side away, open the tap, and then clean the plate and keep it. If the plate is cleaned all over and there is no mess, control of error is there. You must control that error. And if it is not cleaned properly, that means there is an error. If it is cleaned properly, the child has learned that skill, right? Earlier, people used to live in ashrams. And in Rome and Italy, where the Dr. Maria Montessori is there, I told you, Casa di Bambini, which is called as children's home. The children used to live at that place only. So whatever they were eating, they need to wash their own plates. This was the rule. Even in India, in the ashram system, still we are having the same rules. Okay, you have to wash your own plates and keep it. They will only serve you the food. They will only clean that food making utensils and the food serving utensils. Whatever, if you're eating in the plates and dishes, you have to wash it and keep it your own self. These rules are still there in the ashrams of India. Okay, so in Rome and Italy also the same rules were there earlier, right? So we have to teach them how to wash the dishes by wearing a proper apron, how to use a soap, how to clean a dish, how to clean it in the water. Okay, this is also an activity. This is also a practical life activity. Next, see this way. If the sink is not at the level of the child must stand up on the table and then do this activity. And we only have to give them the dishes. No other thing. Next, as the child is understanding how to wash the dishes, washing hands is also a practical life activity. So the child needs how to wash the hands. There are 5 to 6 steps of washing hands. I'll send you those washing hands steps on the WhatsApp. It is like this, like this, like this, and then like this, like this. There are 5 to 6 steps like this to clean their nails. This is also the activity. Move it in circular motion like this, like this, like this. Many different steps. There are actually 10 steps. Okay, those steps I'll be sending you. So if you are making this activity, then you place the chart of all those 10 steps of washing hands. Again, washing a table. And in washing, when you wash the table, you here dusting doesn't come. You have to pail that water of pitcher over it and then clean it with the sponge like this. That means you can also sprinkle the water over it, then clean it with the sponge. That is washing. The earlier which I told you, that was dusting. You are just wiping out clean without use of water. But when here we are using water, wherever we are using water and then sponging off, it is washing. And wherever we are not using water, that is dusting. This is the difference the child must understand. See this activity, sweeping the floor. There must be a broom. They must first understand how to hold the broom, the dustpan, and the waste basket. What will be there in the classroom? Bits of papers may be there. Okay, pencil sharpening shells must be there, and no other dust would be there in the classroom, right? So a small broom and a waste basket, that is a dustbin, and a dustpan. With the small broom, just clean the area where they are. They'll understand the importance of neatness. So here we have to teach them. On the left hand, you have to hold a this dustpan. On the right hand, you have to hold the broom it like this, and keep your dustpan like this, and then do it this way, this way, this way. Okay. Initially, what we do actually, before giving them the practical experience, we actually make them do this activity with hands like this, wash hands like this, wash dishes like this. So these are the different activities which we teach them initially. And when they are doing this activity properly, then we give them that material. Okay. See here, a small broom, a small dustpan, and the dustpan. Okay. Next, polishing silver. Now, this polishing silver means when we are polishing here, you can also make it for polishing shoes in spite of silver also. Polishing silver means these are the silverwares, the spoons, uh, and the forks, and all. The forks must not be pointed. Okay, so here they need to be polished, means there is a silver polishing oil also there, which they need to put it in with a cotton and just place it over the spoons and the forks and the silver plates also. So this is about the silverware if you're doing it. So if you do not get this, because this is costly actually, as I told you, Montessori method is costly also. So you can do with this shoe polishing activity here. Because in shoe polishing, you have a normal brush. There is a normal shoes always the child is wearing, and you can polish the shoe. So this way you can teach them the activity. Pretend that this is a shoe, and then you are polishing like this. Okay, so you can do this activity. See the shoe polish activity. Next, lacing the shoe. Here, lacing the shoe also, there is a dressing frame. So the dressing frame is there. Here also you need to put a board. In that board, you need to put the boot laces. So you need to punch it. You can make a fabric also there. In that fabric, you can do the punching, and then with that you can put a lace. See here the picture. See this way. In that frame, see here the rivets are there. These are called the rivets. You get this easily in the shop where you get the old stitching materials, you know. And then one lace should be there, so you can teach them these 2-3 laces the teacher is going to do. You can teach them how to make a bow with one finger, with 2 fingers, making a flower. These boats you can do it, so the child understands how to lace his or her own shoe. See here, this way. Okay, so here we have finished with practical life activities. Tomorrow we'll be doing this finger dexterity exercises. These exercises are there for developmental domains of motor skill development. There are 2 types of motor skills. One is fine motor skills and another one is gross motor skills. Gross motor skills are running, skipping, jumping, hopping, all these things where full bodily development is going on. When we run, our whole body is doing the activity. When we skip, when we jump, our whole body is active. Okay, so that is gross motor skills when there is full body development. And when we talk about the fine motor skills, here the motor skills are very fine developments. It will be the movement of the eyes too. It can be like this because this is the finest area. The development of the fingers, when we are doing any activity with the help of our fingers, grip is there in the hand. When the child is holding something, it is not going to fall down if there is grip in the fingers, right? And if there is grip in the fingers, good handwriting the child is able to make. The curves the child is going to make it properly. So it is very much important to develop the fine motor skills of the child. Fine motor skills are also there for the hearing thing. For this, we play a silence game in Montessori. The silence game also I'll introduce you today. In the silence game, what we have to do in the classroom one day, you will tell the children that today we'll be playing a silence game. What you will do, you will switch off the fan, you'll switch off the light, and then you will just say, we'll be quiet we can be. Then listen to the noise of the birds chirping. Listen to the noise of the cars moving around. Listen to the noise of the trees moving here and there. This is the natural voice the child is hearing. So how do you came to know about all these natural sounds? Because you were quiet. So when we are quiet, when we are silent, we can hear the nature. We have love towards the nature. So this is a silence game, and this makes the child to be in the discipline. And the concentration of the child is also there because the child is hearing concentrately and her fine motor skills in hearing is also developed. Then we do one activity in fine motor skills too. We have to keep tell two children coming from this area and one child is going from here fast. So when the two children are coming from that side fast, the another child must go, but they should not touch their shoulder. Their concentration and their eye and hand coordination. This is the fine motor skills. When two child are going, one child may move it like this and then move. So that both the child, they are not touching each other. This can also be a game for a child and they will have that eye and hand coordination. Okay, so these type of games we make them play in the classroom so that they understand the dexterity and they develop their fine and gross motor skills. Okay, so for finger dexterity, to maintain them, to write it properly, it is important. So tomorrow we'll be seeing the finger dexterity, which also comes in the practical life exercises. The activities which we'll be doing, that will be practical life exercises itself, but it comes in the development of fine and gross motor skills. Okay, so we have finished till here. Tomorrow we'll be seeing that fine motor skills development. Any doubts for the day?